the video footage of a calf being rammed twice by a police car, which has become something of a national talking point. The footage shows the vehicle driving into the cow, sending it skidding down a road before approaching and hitting it a second time. James Cleverly, the Home Secretary, has asked for an urgent explanation. The incident took place in Staines. The officers involved were from Surrey Police, and the force say they're referring themselves to the Independent Office for Police Conduct. Latika, this has become a national conversation. The Home Secretary has jumped in. It's something that went viral online and provoked a lot of outrage. What are you making of all of this? And I suppose my crucial thought on this is, does it tell us about the police and the police force in this case? And it adds to this really bad reputation that police forces across the country are picking up. And I accept that there is a kind of perhaps unfair guilty by association thing going on here, that all police forces are being viewed in the same way, and that's perhaps not fair. But it does make you question the actions of the police once again.
It does not come at a good time for policing in general. That's certainly true. But we shouldn't cast aspersions on an entire force by one lunatic decision here. I watched this footage and my jaw literally dropped open. That is not an overstatement. I was physically shocked by what I saw, and the strength and I think the force that was used against this animal. It wasn't just a gentle tap to try and stop it in its tracks. It was a full-on ram. Thank goodness for social media, because somebody was able to capture this, post it online, and we have the Home Secretary, no less, very quickly demanding an inquiry and an explanation about this. So that's one of those instances where I say thank goodness for the good citizens around us who see and watch these things, and all because they have a Twitter account or whatever now these days, they can keep the force accountable. But as for the explanations from the police about this, that they didn't have any other options as they were trying to stop this cow going through a main street and potentially harming a member of the public. What about a stun gun? What about calling in some farmers or people who work with livestock every other day? I cannot believe for a second that the only way you could stop a cow walking through a public square is to ram it, and not once but twice. I just can't believe or accept that explanation.
Peter?
This is horrendous. It's animal cruelty. It is totally unacceptable. I don't accept the Surrey Police's explanation for this. My strongly held personal belief is that they're lying. And I think that there was an alternative. The alternative, as Latika correctly points out, there will have been people who know how to deal with livestock in a way that these police officers clearly didn't. And the fact is that very few police officers make decisions in isolation. They will have radioed back to base. There will have been a chain of command here. There will be a number of officers who will have been involved in this decision. And all of them need to be held accountable for this. The police need to set an example. Their reputation already is bad enough. What I want the police to do is to help people to solve crimes and to catch criminals. In terms of dealing with animals that are on the roads, yes, that is sometimes part of their job, but there must be a better way here. It's not a thing where they say, oh, lessons will be learned, there'll be more training, blah, blah, blah. It's a matter of common sense. Was there a local vet they could have rung, for example? Is there another way to deal with this? Look, cows are big animals, they're strong, they can be a hazard to themselves and others. This is something that many rural forces deal with basically every day in terms of clearing roads and so on. This is something that could have been dealt with so much better. As Latika correctly says, thank goodness for social media, because this has probably happened before. I hope it never happens again. It's horrendous, it's awful, and I think that people will be rightly horrified by these stupid and irresponsible actions of Surrey Police.
I'll just read some
And
of the...
also,
Latika, yeah, go on.
If this was reversed, if this was a citizen or a farmer treating their animal on their own farm like this, someone like me who reports a lot on animal welfare issues, I would be going straight to the RSPCA and police and saying, is this person going to be charged? Look at the horror and the animal cruelty that we can bear witness to in this video. So it's just absolutely astounding that people enforcing the law would think this is suitable behaviour.
I just wonder if there's something about it being an animal that allowed the police to get kind of carried away and think,
well, they wouldn't have rammed a human being.
That's my point.
Well, they wouldn't have rammed a dog either. It's not a pet.
Good point.
I just, I wonder if there's no, you eat it anyway.
Yeah, we can exercise some power over this situation. It's that kind of thing. In any case, I want to read some of the police statement just by way of presenting what they've said about this. Given the reports of I'm only going to read some of it because it's quite long. Given these reports, officers were extremely concerned about the public's safety over a period of a number of hours, tried a number of options to safely capture the cow. These were unsuccessful, and the decision was made to stop it using a police car. This matter has been referred to our Professional Standards Department. The cow was moved to a nearby farm in the early hours of this morning, as in the 15th of June. The owner has been located. The cow's injuries have been assessed by a vet. The cow sustained a large cut to its leg. The vet is overseeing its continued treatment and recovery. And it is probably a secondary consideration here, but that police car will probably have to be repaired using taxpayers' money. Is my other part.
Very good point.
That conversation. Your thoughts are very welcome. You can WhatsApp us 0333 003 2353 to get in touch.
So I'm just laughing because Nick's just got in touch saying, I'd love to see you guys on the front line working a proper job.
You wouldn't, Nick. It would be utterly appalling.
It's one of the most horrible incidents of animal cruelty I've actually seen at the hands of the police. And there have been some terrible ones over the years, but this one really is very graphic and really raises serious questions, I think, about the training given to police in situations like this, their awareness of animal welfare, which seems to be non-existent, and why they didn't bring someone in like the RSPCA or a farmer or a vet that's got actually a lot of experience of dealing with large livestock like this in these situations, because it does happen quite regularly in Britain and other parts of the world. So there are ways of dealing with animals of this kind without ramming them in the street.
So I was going to say, run us through what the preferable options would have been that you would hope would have been looked into.
Well, you could corral the animal into a road, a sort of one-way road, for example, or surround it by vehicles and to a point where it couldn't actually escape from one place to another. And then you could have someone that's got experience, livestock farmer, for example, or a vet of dealing with an animal like that to actually go to it. You could tranquilize an animal like that with a dart gun if it really was in a situation where you felt it was going to cause a danger to the public, say going over a major highway or something like that. And that's been done for deer and other animals over the years that have gone into situations like this. I'm really surprised of using a four-wheel drive vehicle to ram it. Someone decided within the command control center that was the best way to stop this animal. And the fact that they came back a second time indicates to me, until the police tell me otherwise, that they were trying to kill it. It was knock it down and then it was come back and do it again. It was like, this animal needs to be killed and this is the most effective way of doing it, which in my view shows a complete lack of awareness of how to deal with a situation like this.
Let me read you what the police have said. Chief Inspector Sam Adcock said the decision to use the police car is one that was only taken after other methods to stop the cow had failed. It had run into a number of main roads, caused traffic disruption in the local area. Whilst attempting to move the cow safely, it became increasingly distressed and it was injured. Obviously, the priority for the police is to keep members of the public safe. And if they feared that maybe members of the public who were clearly around during this incident could be put in danger, then the priority has to be for their well-being.
I agree with you on that. But then if you look back a few weeks ago, we had those three horses that came out of Hyde Park, highly distressed, larger animals moving quickly through central London at a busy time in a traffic was going across central London and pedestrians. Those animals were not rammed with police vehicles. They were controlled by members of the public and people that knew about horses, and they were thankfully, then treated, for their injuries. So that there was a huge difference between that incident and this one. And I think the question must be who was in control of this situation. And it comes just about a year after, the incident that we saw in Limehouse with the man who was living homeless on the streets with these two bull terriers that was shot in the most horrible way by the police, that is now subject to another independent police investigation. Because again, that was subject to members of the public recording and it went viral around the world. And there are serious questions, and the RSPCA and the British Veterinary Association and others intervened to say, actually there again, force was used where it wasn't necessary in a very cruel way. So I think there are serious issues, I think, that police forces, the Metropolitan Police, Surrey Police and others need to look at in dealing with incidents like this.
Thank you ever so much for speaking to us this morning.